Hello everyone, it's time for my 1000 subscriber Q&A.
Reach for the speed, reach for the whistle, go where the rail may run. Reach for the words, reach for the story, follow the rainbow sun. To a shining time station, where dreams can come true, waiting there for
Today, it's time to answer your burning questions that you have sent to me via Instagram and YouTube. There's a whole boatload of questions to answer, so let's dive right in. First question I have is, are there any steam locomotives you're planning to see in person in the near future? I have plans to visit the Mid-Continent Railway Museum to actually see 1385, which has been under restoration, I believe, since the early 2000s or the late 2010s. I can't remember all the specifics on that. But that engine's gonna be a really awesome one to see in operation, and I am planning on getting some video of it and of course putting that on this channel. Another one that I have plans to see is LN 152, which for those who don't know is an LN Light Pacific, which is the only surviving one of its type, which is under restoration as of recording this, and I hope to actually see the locomotive in operation once it is finished. Other than those two, I can't really think of any ones that I have major plans to see, but those are the ones that I have plans to see. So, good question. The next question I have is from Corey Page, who asks, where did you get that painting from in the background? I got this painting for Christmas 2008, which is very, very awesome, and the back of it actually is kind of falling apart, but other than that, yeah, it's a very nice painting. Good question. The next question I have is from KazGX, I believe I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Why is Nickel Plate Road 587 your favorite engine / channel's icon? The reason why 587 is the icon of this channel is because ever since I was a young kid, back in 2007 or so, I actually got to see 587 for the first time, and it actually was the first steam engine I'd ever seen in person. And ever since then, I had practically followed the restoration religiously. And of course, right now, there's not a whole lot to say, but I find it to be a really interesting engine actually because of all the different excursions that it ran, like the fair train and the NS excursions and all that. The reason why it is the icon of this channel is because since it's been my favorite steam locomotive, I thought it would be fitting to have it as the icon of this channel, as I wanted to be able to get some people to better know 587. The next question I have is from MSC Trains, who asks, what made you start YouTube? The reason why I started YouTube was because I was talking with a friend in a study hall class, and I mentioned I had a YouTube channel at one point, and originally, of course, this channel was, of course, going to be about video games, but that fell apart, and I had mentioned to him about how I wanted to get another channel going, and he, in essence, got me motivated, or really started the ball rolling for me getting this channel going. Something that I did on that day, after talking with him, I actually set up some of the primary things for this channel, including the channel's description and some of the different things that I was going to do on this channel. A few months later, I actually stumbled across SMT Mainline, or as he was known as at the time in 2018, Scrumptious Small Trains, and I watched it when it was Taika videos, I believe it was. I'm not quite sure which one it was. I was on one of his live streams actually, and I think it was like a day or two before that live stream, I actually had put together a Taika train commercial compilation. I basically put it together just for fun, just to kind of see what I can do with the editing skills that I had at the time, and also to cut together all the Taika train commercials that currently were around and available at the time in 2018. While watching that stream, I actually mentioned to SMT that I actually had put together a Taika train commercial compilation, and he basically motivated me to be able to bring that one onto YouTube, as I had basically in essence gotten everything else up past that point. And after, of course, that live stream, I did put that video up, and it did okay. At the time, I think I had like 100 views maybe, I'm not quite sure. It was, might have had 50, I can't remember, but that in essence started the ball rolling for this channel. And then soon after that, of course, I put together a model train collection overview, of course, which was the first part of it, which happened to be about my steam engines and diesels and main engines and what have you. And that was the first time I'd actually spoken on camera in almost like 5 or 6 years. And soon after that, of course, the ball started rolling, and here we are today. Good question. ToadFan02 asks, if 587 returns, what whistle would you like on it? The whistle I would like to have on 587 when it returns is probably its later whistle, which of course sounds like this. Lackawanna Railfan asks, do you have any Lackawanna locomotives? Currently, no, not that I can think of any. ToadFan02 asks, what is your favorite Southern Railroad steam program locomotive other than the two nickel plate engines? That's kind of a little bit of a tie, actually, between 3 engines. But 3 that come to mind as favorites from the program include Canadian Pacific Royal Hudson 2839, LN 152, Texas and Pacific 610, and Southern 6910. Would you like to see TVRM 610 run again? I would love to see that engine run again. Of course, it all would depend on funds and what have you, depending on whatever TVRM wants to do with the engine, but it would be nice to see the engine return. It would be a nice addition to the fleet again, considering how diverse it is currently. Diecast and Slot Cars asks, what is your first Tyco? It actually happens to be like 3 things, actually. The first Tyco piece I ever got, was this Tyco Manoa Santa Fe caboose, which I got for $1 at a train show in 2013. This, of course, was the beginning of my HS scale collection. At that same train show, I also managed to pick up this Union Pacific, B-Specific Union Pacific hopper. The first engine I got was this, a Tyco Manoa Santa Fe Plymouth, which I got for about $10, I think it was, and this engine has run pretty much consistently since 2013. It's been through a lot. I'm extremely glad this engine still runs amazing, even after all these years. Could you show us your train collection? Sure. Down here is where all the rolling stock is kept, and some more boxes. Up here I have the majority of the remainder of the boxes. The majority of my broken, non-working, non-functioning equipment at the moment is all up here. All kinds of engines and cars and rolling stock, which I have yet to get around to fix or is unrepairable. And right in front here is some rolling stock. And down here I have my train shelf with all of my engines that currently function as of recording that. Now, some of these haven't really heavily shown in videos, which I will try to see if I can show them operating in future videos, so stay tuned. Oh look, it's the N scale that I never show that doesn't technically work anymore. Have you heard of Via Rail's Supercontinental and Scandienda? That's the correct pronunciation. If not, then I'll just insert something here. No, I have not, but I'll try to see if I can look into it. How much do you like the nickel plate road? I like it a lot. I would say like, on like a 1 to 10 scale, I would rate it like a 9.5 out of 10. I like it a lot. And that's totally not because of 587, but yeah. What is your favorite model train maker? My favorite model train maker either has to be, personally, either Manoa or AHM. What extinct steam locomotive would you say from the Scrapper's Torch? I would say the Norfolk & Western K2 class, which is similar to the J class, but it's a 462 Pacific, I think it is. It might be a Mogul, I don't know. I'll show a picture of the engine right here, so you can see. But that's the answer to that. What is your favorite locomotive builder? I would either have to say either Lima or Baldwin, but if I had to choose, I would say Baldwin. What is your favorite train museum? It probably either has to be the Hoosier Valley Railroad Museum or the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania. Will you try to make an attempt to go to PA to ride behind 1361? Yes, I will try to see if I can make an attempt to go see 1361 and ride behind it. That'll be really awesome, considering it'll be the first time in about 30 years that we've had a mainline Pennsylvania Railroad steam locomotive in operating service. So that'll be very, very cool. If you ever go rail fanning, where would you go? I probably would go to Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, or Elkhart, Indiana. Southern 630 or 4501? I would say 4501. What is your favorite nickel plate road engine? It probably either has to be nickel plate road 587 or nickel plate road 759. Favorite fallen flag railroad? I'll probably have to either say either the nickel plate or the Monon. Draco T asks, what were the first steam engines used on the nickel plate railroad? The first engines that were used are here. Most of the early nickel plate road engines, minus nickel plate railroad 44, of course, was scrapped. So that hopefully answers your question. Nicholas Bernard asks, do you like the Valley Railroad or any of the other locomotives at Essex? My favorite engine that's at Essex actually is the New Haven 3025. The reason why is because it actually is an engine that has a little bit more heritage than most people probably think. This engine was originally built for the Knox and Keene Railroad of Pennsylvania. And for about 30 years, the engine pulled countless trains for the Knox and Keene Railroad. Their excursions in the early 2000s began to dwindle slowly as a result of the Kinsville Viaduct being destroyed by a tornado in 2003. And in 2008, they had to deal with a fire, which destroyed a lot of their equipment. And that engine, which most people would probably think it's unsaleable since it was on a fire, was bought by the Essex Railroad and, of course, was restored to its current appearance as of right now. One thing to note about the engine is it does not have its original Chinese whistle or the original horn that it had either. Those are minor things, but it's a very, very nice engine, and that's my favorite engine at Essex. Oakland Pacific Central asks, top 5 favorite nickel-plate road engines besides 765 and 587. I would have to say 759 being 1, 170 being 2, 44 being 3, 426 being 4, 5 being nickel-plate road 901. I hope that answers that question. Favorite locomotive at the California State Railroad Museum and why? My favorite engine at the California State Railroad Museum has to be Union Pacific 4466 that served the Union Pacific Railroad throughout the 1940s and the 50s and what have you. And for a short time in the 1980s and the 1990s, the engine ran excursions at the California State Railroad Museum's tourist line. His engine's excursion career abruptly ended in the late 1990s as a result of California's ban on coal-burning steam locomotives. Railroads that go through your area. The roads that go through my area includes the Nickel Plate Express being 1, the Norfolk Southern, CSX, and Amtrak. I believe CN might run through, but I can't remember specifically. Which do you like more? SP 4449 or 4460? I would say 4460 as it's kind of the forgotten one of the two GS4s, or actually one of them's a GS4, one's a GS6, but it is more or less forgotten because it kind of was just stashed at the St. Louis Museum of Transportation, which is an interesting place, certainly, but I would consider that to be my answer. And that pretty much wraps it up for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun answering these questions, and hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I'll see y'all guys next time.